Alrighty, here we are for the very first deck of the Pro Tour Gauntlet. A deck I expect you to see quite often following the Pro Tour. That is the Eldrazi deck. And wow, is this deck a whammy. This is the list that Scott-Vargas ran at Pro Tour Oath the Gatewatch. And if you guys want to take a quick look here, this is going to be similar to what the experience in the Pro Tour Gauntlet is going to be. You're going to get your deck, you're going to have a few minutes to look it over, see what you're working with, maybe find some of the nicer interactions just off the top of your head. I mean, obviously Eldrazi Temple and Eye of Ugin doing a huge amount of work in a deck filled with colorless cards, and more specifically, Eldrazi cards. So, without further ado, let's go to the games. Okay, round one here with the sweet Eldrazi list played by Scott-Vargas at the Pro Tour. We won the die roll. We're going to opt to play first, and ooh, this seems like a really land-heavy hand. I do have one of the key cards, though. You always want to have like an Eldrazi Temple or an Eye of Ugin in your opening hand. Basically, just a pseudo-ancient tomb type card. So with this hand, I can lead with Eldrazi Temple and play a an Endless One on turn one as a 2/2 if I want. I'm not quite sure that's good enough. I think I'll give this hand a keep and see how it goes. Again, this is emulating the Pro Tour Gauntlet experience, so I'm going to try to keep this hand and see if it pans out or not. Remember, I'm going to be playing 3 matches with each of these decks, so I get a good chance to see what kind of hands are good or not to keep or mulligan. I think this one's probably borderline. I have a lot of utility lands is the nice thing, so we'll have to see what I want to do. I think I might actually... Well, I was going to say lead with the Mutavault, but I suppose if I draw another Eldrazi Temple or an Eye of Ugin, I'd rather just cast End this one as a 4/4 as opposed to developing out a Mutavault or a Nexus to attack with. Let's see what the opponent is playing. I mean, it's pretty obvious what my deck is when I'm leading with an Eldrazi Temple, but there are certainly plenty of decks that did well at the Pro Tour, although it looks like we might be playing a mirror match here. Eldrazi Temple from the opponent as well. I'm actually really tempted to just Ghost Quarter away the Eldrazi Temple. Obviously, it stymies my development, but that might hurt the opponent more than me, getting rid of his 2-mana production land. Or I could just play Endless One as a 3/3. I think I'm going to go ahead and lead with Endless One as a 3/3 here. But watching the Pro Tour, I'm currently watching it right now, actually. I've seen a lot of players go with Ghost Quartering their opponent's Eye of Ugins and Eldrazi Temples as soon as possible. And we see the opponent here with a Ghost Quarter. I wonder if he's going to use it to blow up my land. Ooh, so he's running the Simian Spirit Guide version. Yeah, and we see a Thought-Knot Seer here. I would assume it's going to take my Dismember, seeing as how I can just kill the Thought-Knot Seer if he doesn't. But it's possible he wants to take the Reality Smasher. Looks like I got punished for not actually killing the Eldrazi Temple with a Ghost Quarter when I had the chance to. I might have to just go with that play next turn, depending on what I draw. Only two choices here for the opponent, Dismember and Reality Smasher. It's pretty cool. You get to live the actual Pro Tour experience, watch the Pro Tour at the same time. See what all the players are doing. And as you can see, oh, he took the Reality Smasher. Okay, so he's gonna go ahead and let me draw a card here, which I think is maybe a wrong play from the opponent. Oh wow, Oblivion Soar's a nice one too. All right, so I think I lead here with dismembering the opponent's Thought-Knot Seer, paying 4 life because I don't have any black sources. Get to draw a card. Ooh, okay. So Ghost Quarter is tempting on the Eldrazi Temple, as is using playing out the Eldrazi Mimic. I think I'm gonna go with the Mimic here, just because if I draw another Eldrazi Temple or Eye of Ugin, I can play Oblivion Soar next turn. And the opponent used Simian Spirit Guide last turn, so if he doesn't have another land, he's not going to be able to play like another Thought-Knot Seer. All right, opponent played a Wastes. Looks like he has another Thought-Knot Seer. This time it has to take my Oblivion Sower, unfortunately for me. But now we get to start Ghost Quartering the opponent and bashing in with, say, Blinkmoth Nexus if I don't draw anything. Wow, triple Ghost Quarter. Probably not the draw I really wanted. So you want to do this on their draw step so that he might not find another basic to search out. At least that's what I've learned from watching the Pro Tour. I'm going to go ahead and attack in for one here. And wait for draw, and then Ghost Quarter the Eldrazi Temple. That way, if he doesn't have many basics left in his deck, he might not actually be able to find one. And this way he can't cast something in his main phase. Alright. So destroy your Eldrazi Temple. Looks like he had another waste to find. Which is fine. Killing the Eldrazi Temple is more important. The opponent knows I have at least one more Ghost Quarter in my hand. So they might be sandbagging like their Eye of Ugin or something if they don't have something good to do on this turn. This deck seems sweet, though. Besides the Dismember, I've played nothing but cards that are colorless. Or, should I say, devoid of color. Things I'm looking to draw here. Well, Reality Smasher would be great. Thought-Knot Seer would be pretty good. Ooh, main deck Ratchet Bomb. Is that the best play he's got? Now, he might be Ghost Quartering my Eldrazi Temple. It looks like. But he hasn't played a land yet this turn, which is a good sign for me. We might be able to kind of wreck the opponent's mana base here with these Ghost Quarters. Hopefully that's the case for us. Let's see. So Ratchet Bomb can actually take out the Endless One right now. Okay, so that's what he's going to do. He's going to take out the Endless One because on the battlefield, the Endless One, even though I paid 3 for it, is a 0/0 in essence. Or rather, a 0 mana cost spell. X is 0. Yep, I'm going to just take 4 here. We're losing this race. Kind of. We'll see what the opponent wants to do. If he's going to blow up my Eldrazi Temple or not. If he does, I'm going to activate the Mutavault in response, since we don't have anything else in our hand to do. And I do have a basic, I believe. All right, 2 wastes. So yeah, actually the opponent, the Ghost Quarters are just Stone Rains for me, which is great. I can get to bash in for 5 here, and then Ghost Quarter the opponent. So it looks like the opponent's on the same exact list that I am. So let's just keep doing this whole song and dance of taking care of his lands. Does he have a land? Nice. Okay, so Ghost Quarters are actually just Stone Rains here. And we're really, really dampening the opponent's abilities. I'm dead in 2 more attacks, but I can keep dealing 4 damage. That's awkward. Okay. Well, good play from the opponent getting a 3/3 Endless One out there. Jeez. I'm kind of whiffing now, aren't I? Well, that's not good for us. Can't attack with the Mutavault anymore. I can activate the Blinkmoth Nexus. I don't think I want to Ghost Quarter this turn. I think we're just going to have to pass here. I guess I could attack for 1 in the air. Is that even worth it? I think not. No, because I can activate both the Mutavault and the Blinkmoth Nexus to double block the Endless One. I'm going to have 2 3/3s, or rather 2 2/2s. I could also double block the Thought-Knot Seer, which is probably better. Yeah, it's probably better just to double block the Thought-Knot Seer and potentially draw a card. I do get a little bit ruined by a Dismember, which actually, if the opponent has Dismember, that's real bad for me. So I think we're supposed to triple block the Thought-Knot Seer. We'll see what the opponent attacks with. Okay, so if he just attacks with these 2, then I'm happy to double block with the Mutavault and the Blinkmoth. block. And remember, the Blinkmoth Nexus can pump itself. So now he only gets to kill my Endless One. Now again, this is still susceptible to Dismember, but if he had the Dismember, I feel like he would have attacked with a Thought-Knot Seer as well. So this is a good trade for me. I'm taking care of one of the opponent's threats and only losing my Mutavault in the process. Ooh, he drew an Eye of Ugin. Okay, so we can Ghost Quarter that. And perfect. That is exactly the thing we were looking for. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can actually Ghost Quarter the Eye of Ugin as well as play Reality Smasher. Right? I believe so. So let's do that. Let's make our... Let me make a 5/5 while we're at it. And if the opponent just takes this, then they are going to lose to the Blinkmoth Nexus by itself, because now I can just Ghost Quarter, and since we know the opponent doesn't have any other basics in their library, and he just scoops. Awesome. All right, so let's go to sideboarding here with this deck. We're going against an opposing Eldrazi deck. But since it's the mirror match, I don't actually know what I'm supposed to bring. I guess the gut shots are pretty good versus opposing mimics. The spell skites can eat dismembers if I want. So I assume spell skites are probably fine as are gut shots. Oh, Chalice is probably supposed to come out in the mirror match for sure. Chalice are great, obviously, but in this matchup they're not exactly the bee's knees. So let's bring in 3 gut shot for 3 Chalice. Sorry, for 4 Chalice, maybe another spell skite. And I guess Warping Oil can what? Warping Oil can kill an Eldrazi Mimic? That's probably not good enough. I guess it can kill opposing spell skite too. I think I like running it like this though. Just take out the 4 Chalice of the Voids, adding 2 spell skites and 3 gut shots. Yeah, let's ship it like this. All right, here we are for our second game of the first match with our Luis Scott-Vargas Eldrazi deck. We have a sweet hand. Turn 1 Eye of Ugin is going to allow us to cast Eldrazi Mimic for free. And then next turn, I can cast Endless One as a 4/4 attack for 4. I have 2 great removal spells. This is basically one of the better hands. Obviously, you'd want multiple Mimics, but you can't always get what you want. Would not be surprised to see if this to see our Mimic get eaten by a Gut Shot or Dismember. Yeah, so opponent's just going to snap Dismember that. He knows how powerful it can be. Wow, that's bad for us. The opponent with 2 Eldrazi Temples on the play. Probably going to see a Thought-Knot Seer here. Yep. All right, well, the opponent didn't take Dismember last time, but I assume he's going to take it this time. Again, that's the only card that can deal with Thought-Knot Seer besides the Endless One, which I can cast out as a 4/4 here, obviously. Yep, so there goes the Dismember. Drew another Endless One, that's not bad. So here, I think we're just supposed to play out an Endless One as a 4/4. Oop, that's not how you do it. And, of course, Spellskite not being a Eldrazi, cannot cast it for free off of the Eye of Ugin. Matter or Shaper, I need 1 more mana. I'm happy to block Thought-Knot Seer with my Endless One if the opponent wants to make that trade. But yeah, Eye of Ugin is just so powerful in this deck, it's kind of silly. Because on first glance, you think it only, lowers the cost of 2 for a spell, but you have to remember that's 2 for each Eldrazi, so that's actually adding like 4 mana to my mana pool right now. Ooh, are we going to see a reality? Yes, we are. All right. I probably have to block the Reality Smasher with my Endless one and then gut shot it, discarding, say, Spellskite. I really need to get that thing off the battlefield. I mean, I'm at 20. I guess I could take it. All right. You know what? Let's try this out. Let's take it and let's see if we can push for a little bit more aggressive line of our own. Yeah, a little bit rewarded there too, since I drew a removal spell for it. I could cast Reality Shape or Matter Reshaper and end this one as a 3/3. That might be better. I'm gonna go ahead and attack in here. Potentially be a little bit greedy, I think. And so we want to float. That costs 1, and then we can cast this as a 3/3. I think that's fine. We can potentially double block the Reality Smasher. We can double block the Thought-Knot Seer. If the opponent attacks with the Thought-Knot Seer in addition to the Reality Smasher, I can double block it, and if he has a removal spell, I can finish it off with a Gut Shot, since even though he knows I have that. We'll have to see what the opponent wants to do. Again, opponent with a pretty good start of their own. Turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer, obviously. Pretty insane. In fact, we are at Oblivion Sower territory here. Opponent has 6 mana now, or potentially 6 mana for any of their colorless cards. Spellskite. That's not good for me. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to dismember the Spellskite. Shoot. We'll have to see what the opponent wants to do here. I think I'm pretty happy to double block this. Again, if the opponent had a removal spell, I think he would have also attacked with a Thought-Knot Seer. Awesome. And we might get some value here. Nice, we do. Okay. So I can actually end of turn dismember the Spellskite now. Although, you know what? It's probably correct to end of turn dismember the Thought-Knot Seer, and then the opponent's going to redirect it to the Spellskite. I think I like that line a little bit more. And if he redirects, then he has to pay 2 life. So instead of just killing the Spellskite, I also deal 2 damage to the opponent here effectively. Alright. Mutavault. Not exactly the card I was looking for, but a fine one to have. Very content just to bash in here. See if the opponent wants to block. Right now, Zhao Chen Tao and Luis Scott-Vargas are playing in the in the semifinals. I'm pretending I'm Luis Scott-Vargas here, beating up on other Eldrazi decks. Spellskite it is. We can leave up Mutavault, whatever that does. Nothing, I think, but threat of activation, I suppose. Opponent on 6 life, 3 cards in hand, Mutavault and Blinkmoth Nexus. Now I can't actually, well, not with 2 Blinkmoth Nexus. I can't actually kill a Blinkmoth Nexus with Gut Shot if the opponent has mana to tap itself. And you know what? Mutavault is technically a Nexus, so he can pump up his Mutavault to a 3/3. Wow. That's kind of gross. Alright, let's draw a whammy here. That is pretty good. That's very good. Okay. Just going to crush in here with the Endless one. I assume the opponent's going to block. And Oblivion Sower provides a huge body. The opponent can actually double block here with the Mutavault and the Blinkmoth Nexus. God, this deck is so silly. I love it. Now, technically, I could redirect the Blinkmoth trigger to Spellskite, but it wouldn't, well, technically I could pay to try to change, but seeing as how Spellskite is not actually a Blinkmoth creature, that would not very well work. So it looks like the opponent's just going to chump here with the Nexus. Could make a double walk again. That is something I mentioned. And the only card in my hand that the opponent doesn't know about is the Sower, since he knows I have the Gut Shot. But this is actually not going to work out well for the opponent. If he goes for the pump on the Blink Moth, I actually get to eat his Mutavault too. Because I think the opponent animated the wrong one. If he had animated the summoning sick one, he might have been able to pump twice. No, he would have needed 3 mana still. Okay, never mind. In any case, this is not going to work out well for the opponent. Yeah, and we kind of get him good here. So a 2-for-1, Blinkmoth Nexus and Mutavault for my Gut Shot. I'm pretty sure I had the Gut Shot in my hand when the opponent used Thought-Knot Sphere on me. Good stuff, good stuff. If you guys missed some of the Pro Tour coverage during the Swiss rounds, in one of the insane games between Luis Scott-Vargas and Frank Lepore, Luis top-decked a Gut Shot when Frank was at 1 life and they were on game 3. It was quite an intense battle. I do like the addition of Gut Shot into these decks. Granted, I guess it's not much of an addition since these decks are fresh and new, but Alright, so the opponent just had a nice little chat with me. He was saying he had a Simian Spirit Gun in his hand, and he was wondering why he couldn't activate his Blinkmoth Nexus for the second one. I notified him that because he activated the Summoning Sick one, he's not actually able to use its tap ability. So, little interactions to think about there. Remember, even though the Blinkmoth is a land, and you may tap it for mana immediately, you can't actually tap it for its ability or for mana if you activate it as a creature, if it's Summoning Sick. So just little things to think about. These are really awesome decks, and that was something that I had mentioned earlier. Ooh, sweet hits here. So Oblivion Sower hits a Ghost Quarter and Urborg. On draw step, I'm going to go ahead and kill the Eldrazi Temple of the opponents. Although it actually might be correct to kill the Blinkmoth Nexus, but I think we just want to kind of neuter the opponent's sources of mana here. It's funny that the Ghost Court now goes into the opponent's graveyard since I took it from his exile. And that'll be the match. All right, so we're 1-0 here with the sweet Luis Scott-Vargas Eldrazi deck. Stay tuned, folks.